Now, airline bosses have lined up to voice concern about the UK's plan to bring in a mandatory hotel quarantine for travellers, with an announcement expected to be confirmed on Wednesday. However, hotel quarantine has proved pretty successful as a way of reducing the spread of COVID-19 in Australia and New Zealand. Well, we're joined now from Rutherglen in Australia by Sarah Nickson, who's a senior researcher at the Institute for Government. Sarah, just explain to us how successful the scheme has been in Australia.
Yes, I mean, you're quite right. Hotel quarantine has been absolutely instrumental to Australia's success in keeping the numbers of the virus down and the number of deaths. Just by way of illustration, Australia's had just over 900 deaths, and while obviously all of those deaths are very tragic for those people and their families, in relative terms, Australia has performed really well. Obviously, as you mentioned, the UK has just ticked over 100,000, so that's quite a relative difference. And I mean, the contribution of hotel quarantine really has been, we managed to get the numbers of cases down after social distancing and lockdowns earlier in the year, and then hotel quarantine has served to keep cases from overseas being imported into the country.
Okay, in your view, does this solution, hotel quarantining, have to be all or nothing, a complete closure of all borders to all people, or only quarantining those who come in from countries with the new variants, from Brazil, for example?
Look, I mean, I think that's a really interesting question, and I suspect if they go for a small number of countries, that might be quite controversial. What I would say is that in the short term, at least, it might be sensible to start rolling out this program to a select number of countries, just because it is actually a very difficult logistical operation. So rolling it out on a smaller scale gives the government an opportunity to test out different approaches, find out what works, and iron out any problems before they roll it out on a larger scale with potentially larger consequences. In the longer term, though, I mean, I think the government would want to have very good information about where new variants are emerging from, so that they can, shape their policy to be directed to the relevant countries. And obviously, there is a danger that, if you are really applying it to the countries where there are known dangerous variants, there are maybe others that you miss.
Sarah, is this too little, too late?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to distinguish between the decisions the government is making today about the future and judging the decisions that maybe it should have made earlier. I would say that I think there's a lot of water yet to flow under the bridge with this pandemic. It's far from over. And obviously, once the vaccine is rolled out and the effects of the current national lockdown are felt, I mean, hopefully cases will get to small, manageable numbers. And implementing hotel quarantine and border closures might help the UK to keep those numbers low.
Okay, we will certainly see, won't we? Sarah Nickson in Australia, thanks very much for your time.